Why People Like Anime Girls by PaxTube. Chat, why do we like anime girls? Huh? Why do we like anime girls? I like anime girls because they're pretty. They're pretty to look at. They're attractive. They're feminine. I don't know. But what about anime girls? Oh, you mean the traps? They're thick. True and real. They're better than real women. Yeah, I'm telling Pumpkin. I don't know. It's just like I think a lot of men. That's why a lot of men watch VTubers. It's probably really just like big boobas plus unrealistic personalities. It is probably just like because I don't know. We'll look at his theory.
This is an anime girl. To the average observer,
What? No shit! I'm not blind.
this may look like just another animated character. But what if I told you that characters like this have been reaching international popularity? Whether you're from Japan or not, the odds are that you yourself have seen someone online using an anime girl as an avatar. In this video on PaxTube, we're here to find out why these characters are so well liked. Ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about anime. Specifically, the anime and manga industry produced by Japan. This art industry has become very popular around the world, especially on the internet. Unlike Western anime,
Hot take. Hot take. Here's the hot take. It might be a hot take. When I look at a lot of like stat posting and stuff, and like lonely dudes, I'm talking here specifically about men, not women, specifically men, because I am a man. I can only talk from my perspective. Do anime girls also have more appeal because young men, specifically young men, are more lonely? I'm theory crafting here, but could that also be the case? Because when you look at like a lot of people that post lonely stuff and they talk about like they have like that stuff in there, it's often usually in the combination of an anime boy and an anime girl. Just my theory.
which typically gears itself toward children, the anime industry targets a wide variety of age demographics. Thus, you'll find fans who are adults and teenagers alike. In recent
Also, I'm gonna straight up recommend it here. Vinland Saga. If you haven't watched Vinland Saga, you've missed something. Do that right now. Don't forget a lot of dudes are also voiced by women like Goku. That is true. Goku, Naruto, Luffy might be as well. But true.
recent years, Western companies have even attempted live-action adaptations of anime, with not much success, to put it lightly. But the rise
I mean, Alita was pretty solid.
of popularity of anime in the West is worthy of investigation, and it leads us to some telling conclusions. A key factor that stands out in anime's success is its female characters, who garner fan bases in and of themselves. The term waifu, a variation of the word wife, is used commonly in anime circles to refer to one's favorite female character. It's become obvious at this point that anime girls have a special
Chi-Chi. Especially End of Z Chi-Chi. Yeah. I want a housewife. No denial. Ash Ketchum, true. One Piece live action was greatly received. Yep, that is true.
charm that viewers in the West are picking up on. Firstly, appearance. Now, the most common explanation of why anime girls are popular is that they're cute. And that's very true. These characters are professionally designed to be feminine and attractive. There are entire animation methods devoted to their styles. The physical traits that are highlighted in anime include flowing hair, large and detailed eyes, and slim or curvaceous bodies. These features are highlighted because they're widely accepted as beautiful. Some might argue that beauty is subjective, but let's face it, they're ultimately physical traits.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's true. There is beauty is subjective to a certain degree, but I think biologically, we have to think biologically, right? There are things that are universally attractive. Curves are universally attractive for most men. That's just how it is, for example. That is a thing. My friend, she doesn't even watch anime and was obsessed with the live action Zoro.
Traits that people are biologically wired to be attracted to. Those creating anime do not try to obscure this. It should also be noted that these female designs go hand in hand with clothing that accentuates their feminine features, such as ribbons, bows, or other hair accessories. Meanwhile, some character designs are more childlike, which are intended to trigger protective instincts from the viewer. You could call this the cute or comfy factor. Now, of course, anime doesn't exist in a vacuum, so to understand its ascendancy in the West, we also need to look at what's going on in Western media. In Western media, by contrast, there's been efforts.
True! True! Watch Western movies, and what do you realize? We strip women from the femininity. There is barely any female character that is not a girl's girl and also the main protagonist of her movie. Isn't that wild that we barely have that nowadays? Isn't that interesting? Like we don't have a girl's girl nowadays in Western movies. We don't. Yeah, today is Ramen Rem birthday. Why do you know that specifically?
To reduce character designs that even differentiate between men and women. Some have linked this to the fat acceptance and androgynous movements, but truthfully, these two movements are simply two branches of the entire source. That source is feminism, which has come to utterly dominate Western media. Hollywood and television.
Hot take. Feminism does not attempt to strengthen women in their femininity and instead tries to turn women into second-class men. Harsh, but that is how I see it. True, the most recent example is Snow White. They fumbled that movie so bad. They turned a really lovable story into a modern politics feminist slop.
Studios consistently identify more as feminist and liberal than the general public. This is then reflected in their portrayals of women. In a great irony, feminism rejects the value of femininity and works.
I hate Rey. I hate her. She's a Mary Sue. I wanted Finn to be the main character. It was slightly teased. I think this was a bait and switch. Why is she the main character? She provides nothing. Nobody likes her. That's about it.
Instead as a conduit to make females masculine. The biological differences between the sexes are seen not as something to be celebrated, but as obstacles to be destroyed.
Isn't that like what they try with like I want to connect this here with different cultures where instead of sharing cultures and creating a proper melting pot, they want to say that they want to bring in cultural appropriation instead. Same energy. Same energy, but I agree here. We are different. How about we celebrate this difference instead of annihilating them?
These natural differences are thus downplayed, and studios put ridiculous efforts into making female characters look and behave like their male counterparts. Things weren't always this way in Western media, but they certainly are now. Meanwhile, this kind of feminist influence simply does not exist in anime studios, and that's played an enormous part in this contrast of character designs.
Not yet. Not yet, but we've seen a shift. Not yet, but we've seen a shift. Especially in video games. For example, Square Enix. Not yet, but it's coming.
And beyond just the issue of feminism, a solid portion of the animation that gets propped up by corporations in the West is downright hideous. So it's clear that the physical appearance of anime girls is a main factor that makes them popular in the current West. But I will submit to you that there is an even greater factor at play that goes far deeper than physical appearance. To lead into this,
I also have to agree that when I look at cartoon shows, which pretty much are the equivalent to anime, if it's not trying to emulate anime, like for example Castlevania, like some of the Netflix shows, right, that are produced by Western companies. If I look at cartoons now, there's rarely like anything pretty. Like when I look at adult cartoons, especially, while these can be enjoyed by adults and have adult themes, but characters actually, like, the world looks pretty.
let's look at how Maki from the anime Love Lab responds to receiving a compliment from a boy.
君さ、ちょっと可愛いと思って人のことバカにしてんだろ。なんだ
Neurons activated!
よ、その反応おかしいだろ。
Take note of the traits that are being displayed here. This leads into the point. Anime girls are liked because of their virtuous and feminine personality traits. A female character portraying bashfulness like this is common in anime, but all but extinct in Western media. Generally, these characters demonstrate attributes that make them ideal candidates for wives, including loyalty, modesty.
True. True. Now that he mentions it, and I look back at like many older Western films that I grew up with because my mom watched them, I agree that this was once a thing in Western media. It just now isn't anymore.
And a positive view of marriage and children. It's a
True, 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 true. Think back, chat, think back. Think back. When you watch any, like, adult show, any adult show, the male character, for example, when there's a family, the dad is always treated as the bumbling fool, while the woman is being treated like the competent one. When I look at, there was this one here in Germany, this one very sexist ad, I think it was, where a dad was supposed to take care of his child, and like the man was once again portrayed like this idiot who can't get anything right. There was also this ad where it was like the end goal was like, you thought like it was like glazing the father. This ad, like, giving compliments to its father. It was like multiple child voices, and then it turned out to be the mother. And then they received backlash for it, and then they made a male. Next year, they made a male version for it. Now, how does that relate to marriage? It makes it so that marriage for women also seems less lucrative in a way, because men don't contribute anything.
Common sight in anime, especially in the slice of life genre, to see characters.
Also true, again, when we can see in these, especially in romance anime, that this is like a thing that like people genuinely want to be in relationships. Where when you look at Western movies, it is really just like, and this is mainly a push, I think, from Hollywood, where, like, we push this idea that we don't need each other, you know? The genders can be separate. We don't need each other. Don't fall in love, don't have a family, focus on your career, all that stuff.
Characters outright fantasize about marriage.
それにこう見えても天文学の前はいいお嫁さんになるのも夢だったから。2人で
お二人の初めての共同作業。
This is brainwashing, chat. This is brainwashing. They're trying to brainwash us into wanting families. It's working. It's working. Shinsu Abe, it's working. The propaganda is working. You know, like those McDonald's ads, those cute McDonald's ads on Twitter, where it's like a family eating McDonald's. You have like the dad and then the wife with like, and then the little girl. It's like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. They're actively gaslighting us. This makes me more realize that I really want a family. Fuck.
Characters are written this way intentionally, because not only do these virtues make them good love interests, but they're also admirable traits in and of themselves. I've noticed that chastity in particular is a value that anime likes to highlight. This applies to both male and female characters, but to avoid going off topic...
Yeah, but then you realize that NTR exists. Which is not part of anime specifically, but man... Japan is also a hellhole of degeneracy.
I'll stick to the females. Importantly, even female protagonists that are designed in a sexualized way are written carefully to have these virtues. I may not be a fan of some of these designs because they stride the line towards sexploitation, but their behavior, as I've described, shows that they're written with nuance. As one example of this, in the anime Overlord, the character Albedo is revealed to be a virgin despite her sexualized appearance.
Marriage. I don't care. Marriage. Give me the ring. Once again. Stay, don't touch each other until you're married. Stay virgins. I approve of this.
It's a rarity to hear a character say something like this outside of anime. Now, these female characterizations draw a stark contrast to not only Western media, but Western society itself. Currently in the West, values like modesty, chastity, and romantic exclusivity are increasingly treated as...
True. He is actually going into the direction that I thought he was going. I agree. He is actually going there. Interesting. I loved her so much. I mean, I haven't watched Overlord. I've watched like a few clips of it. It's supposed to be like really good, like one of the better isekai, as far as I've heard. But I haven't watched it because I didn't have the chance to. I'm currently at solo leveling. But he's actually good. Once again, I agree. Chastity is demonized. Exclusivity is also kind of demonized because we kind of make it seem immediate that if you just have one man in your life, you like missed out on something, or like one partner in general. I agree. We could have some deep. This man and me could have some deep talks. You haven't? No, I haven't. I haven't had the chance yet.
As unnecessary or antiquated. This is in spite of the fact that most research shows that these things are critical to developing healthy long-term relationships.
And yeah, we have data, by the way. We have data that supports what people have been saying. And the red pill is actually wrong, because the red pill likes to deny that. That, you know, women shouldn't sleep around, but men should sleep around, because, you know, it doesn't affect men. Spoiler alert, the more partner you have had, the more unlikely it is for you to have a stable relationship. Incredible hot take. It isn't, but we know this. Because, let's face it, this whole a partner's past doesn't matter is a lie. Because the best predictor of future behavior is what? past behavior. If I was stealing a lot in the past, it is very likely that I'm going to steal a lot in the future.
A 2019 research report from the Institute of Family Studies found that traditionally minded and religious couples reported the highest level of relationship quality and sexual satisfaction. Other research has shown that women who engage,
which kind of makes sense, because usually those are the ones that, first of all, usually wait until they're ready and find somebody with the same morals. So they don't know any other people, because their spouse is the first they ever had. So it kind of makes sense that this would be the case. Because you can't miss something that you never had.
engage in promiscuous sex are more likely to have failed marriages, more likely to become single mothers, more likely to get an abortion, and less likely to report personal happiness than women who had 0 sexual partners prior to being married. It truthfully turns out that the sexual revolution and free love were an utter disaster. But in spite of this, most of Western society continues to double down on normalizing promiscuity.
And we shouldn't normalize it, because it brings terrible things upon society. Because, let's face it, a lot of crime comes from sons that were raised in single-parent homes, predominantly single-mother homes, which is why I'm for that neither of the parents can bail out of parenthood. If you knock up a woman, buddy, you better stay with that woman or I will throw bricks at you.
Fortunately, though, things aren't all bad just yet, as surveys do show that people say that those with more than 2 past sexual partners are undesirable for long-term relationships. The problem is that Americans report having between 4 and 7 past sexual partners.
Well, I'm not American, but here in Germany it might probably be very similar, because we are very liberal in that sense as well. But yeah, for me, a partner that... Oh, this is gonna get me killed, I don't care. For me, a partner that has already had a sexual partner, just one, undesirable for marriage. I lose every bit of attraction that I had for a person when I find out they're no longer capable of waiting until marriage. This is just how it is.
Partners. This has created an extreme gap between the kind of person people want a long-term relationship with and the kind they can actually choose from. Furthermore, the average age people first report having sex is 17. Now add in the
oh boy, if I was American, I would be far over that. I would be far over that.
fact that data shows marriage has a negative correlation with number of sex partners. That is, the more sex partners a person has, the less successful their marriage is likely to be. All of these things have come together to create a relationship wasteland in the West. It's created a situation where the average person has to choose between settling for a spouse with many past sexual partners, which they don't want, or dropping the idea of marriage entirely. A horrible situation through and through.
That's why I'm not settling. If I can't find somebody who waits until marriage with me, I'm out. Dead end. That is my fate. That is how it's going to be. It's not something that I want. It's something that I hate. That prospect. That future. I hate that. But I can't really avoid it.
Meanwhile, rather than trying to reverse this, Western media has led the charge in exacerbating this crisis. Studio executives practically fall over themselves to put forward female characters that are sexually promiscuous and masculine. As an example, in the show Game of Thrones, nearly every single female character is written to either be involved in numerous sexual relationships or to have no interest in men whatsoever. Other shows that focus on teenage relationships are rife with premarital sex, abortion, homosexuality, and marriage being treated as a backwards institution. So with both Western media and society increasingly abandoning both
I have nothing, like, I don't think, LGBTQ characters are a problem here. Because I also advocate for LGBTQ people to find one partner and stay with that partner forever. I advocate for that as well. That's what I think would be the best. But again, true, we are doing that. We are doing that, like, I don't know. The West is chaotic.
feminine and monogamous traits, anime has done the opposite. It's now effectively one of the last reliable places young men can look to find idealized female portrayals who would make good wives. Thus, it shouldn't be surprising at all that it's garnered a large male audience. Now, a lot of anime fans may recognize this fact implicitly, but not actually be cognizant of it.
I mean, true. Like, when I look at a lot of romance, anime watchers, it is so many dudes nowadays. It is so many dudes. When I was like 14, 15, dudes were watching shonen up and down. And now when I look at like men my age, a lot of them don't even really watch that many shonen. They really watch a lot of romance. At least the ones I talk to.
There are, after all, many anime fans who are degenerate, and I think part of the reason these people exist is because they were never able to recognize what makes anime girls unique in the first place. And while I'm sure someone can find exceptions to what I've said in this video, they are just that, exceptions. To draw things to—
This is cute! Ah, this is cute! Oh, I want them to be this so bad.
conclusion, the anime industry produces some beautiful works that we, as Westerners, can learn from. None of this is to say that anime is perfect or that Japan is a perfect country. All things have their flaws.
No, it isn't. It isn't. It isn't. Cheating is not that uncommon in Japan. Obviously, Japan does have problem. Anime does have problem. The loot side of it is... I don't appreciate the loot side of it that much. And I mean, like, mostly the loot side of like, the pornographic side. I don't like that side.
But what's clear here is that anime's female portrayals show feminine nature in a positive light that feminist media never can or will. In essence, it exposes the current cultural crisis in the West in both media and public attitudes. When a huge portion of your male population has to look to a foreign medium to find virtuous female portrayals, that's a serious problem. I ultimately hope this video helps people see the value of virtue and the void that's left when people turn their back on it. Now there may be some things I forgot to mention, so feel free to leave your views in the comments. And if you enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing and clicking the notification bell, as it really helps me to make more. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.
I agree with most of what he said as somebody who watches anime here and there. I do agree with almost everything. Like I said, the point of LGBTQ, I wouldn't necessarily throw that in. But, most of it, I would actually say, yes. Yeah, there is a reason why anime is more successful than any other medium. And I think this contributes to it. Aren't all mediums somewhat lewd, though Japan does it take up a notch? I would say yes. Yes. It's not so much the lewd part, right? I don't mind if a character's really attractive, right? I don't mind that. It was mostly so the hentai direction that I was referring to. That aspect I do not like at all. Because, you know, my anti-corn stance. I can't say, IRL corn bad! John Corn, not bad. I can't say that. That would sound hypocritical.